Welcome to Friday Fuel.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Friday Fuel. Happy Friday. I'm Adam Lindsay. Here in the studio with me, we got Mr. Donald Peel.
What's going on, everybody?
And the lovely Alexander Sala over there.
What is up, guys?
In Cabo this morning.
It's amazing,
Alex,
bro.
how's the weather?
Dude, it's amazing. It's actually funny. So Tulsa is actually cooler than here. It's like it's hot, and I'm at some level. I feel like I'm ready to go back home into the cool weather because fall's right around the corner. So it's just like
that's crazy.
But the beach is so nice.
Oklahoma is cooler than Cabo, Mexico. Insane.
Yeah, dude.
That's awesome, man. Well,
the beach is nice though, man. Beach is nice.
Good.
It's always good.
Well, Alex is there on the Power Players Retreats with Cody Askins. When do you head home?
I head home Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, so I head home Sunday, dude. This whole experience, like we were talking before the podcast, Adam and Donnie. I definitely would say that I'm probably gonna buy again the Power Players package because, dude, you get 2 vacations, you get a 1% conference. There's so many other things, right? And it's really helped me kind of, elevate my business a little bit more. Just masterminding with all the agency owners that are here, dude. Just a lot of takeaways for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I just want to make note of that real quick. How cool is it that our industry, allows things like this to happen? Alex is a 19-year-old, excuse my downplaying, but kid living it up in Cabo, Mexico right now. Like, he is the man. That is so cool. And I'm just so appreciative that this industry, allows these kind of things to happen and gives us these kind of opportunities. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So true. Welcome everybody to the show. We're going to get kicked off here in just a second. Quick shout out to our sponsor, the Medicare Machine Factory. If you do Medicare, Joshua Youngs has some amazing trainings on that, so you can get plugged into his system. But let's just get right into it. I know today we're going to be discussing something that's, I guess, a really common pain point among insurance agents, something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, and that is probably the reason why most people leave the industry, if we're being honest, and that's leads. Whether you're doing PNC or life insurance or health insurance, or if there are any other kinds of insurance that I'm missing here, I think leads are really important. I think you guys can both agree with me on that.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And there are lots of, I guess, struggles that people go with when talking about leads, but there are also a lot of things that you can learn and do better when it comes to leads. And we're kind of going to touch on all those points today. But Donnie, can I ask you, what's kind of been your experience? Just give us an overall summary of when you started and how leads have played a part in your business and what's been hard for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So believe me, I know better than anyone the struggle of leads, man. It is tough out here, to say the least. And as anyone well knows, that if you don't have, a lead source or some kind of leads coming in, you're dead in the water. And it's very hard to scale at the scale that, a lot of us in our industry want to grow at. And it's very disheartening. So I started with my first mentor, who had built his book of business completely through referrals and word of mouth. It was a small private asset management firm. He took me under his wing, and it was all, calling Aunt Sally and asking if she had any friends that, might have needed some information or some coverage. And then I joined, Symmetry Financial, and it was completely the opposite way, where it was very, very heavily, buying leads, flipping leads, and then, having other lead sources. So it was quite a culture shock to go from one or the other. I think a mix of the two is the key. I think putting all of your eggs in one basket, either through referrals or just buying leads, can lead to a lot of struggles that you could avoid if you were supplementing them with, some of the same. And I know that's very much what I have kind of struggled with. I'm very much someone that is buying leads and not asking for referrals when I should. Absolutely. I should go back and, of course, call my book of business and ask them if they have any family members or friends or any conversations they've overheard in the last, few weeks, or if anything changed since the last time we spoke. And guess what I do? I don't do that. Why? It's a little bit of nerves. It's a little bit of thinking I don't deserve it. It's a little bit of me just being lazy. I know these guys Alex is the absolute referral god. So if you have any questions about how to get referrals, definitely hit up Alex's line 100%.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah. So my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
we'll jump into the referrals later. But definitely, guys, please let StreamYard view your comments.
Oh yeah,
100%.
100%.
Facebook users in here, so please make sure that you let them view your comments, and then you guys comment below. What we love to interact with comments, just get on here and chat with you guys. So we love that. But Donnie, to kind of piggyback off of you, bro, I think a lot of insurance agents nowadays, they just jump from lead vendor to lead vendor. Yeah. Right. I mean, they're always trying to find the next best thing. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not opposed to that for myself when back at the Ultimate Agent, because we all thought it was a level playing field. Right. We're only working Cody's leads, nothing else. Right. And then when he opened up the reins we were all, I mean, for myself, Adam was already ready to go. This dude's been generating leads. He's got his shit together. So I was like, okay, bro. Okay. So, and then I feel like for me, I don't know what you were for your leads, Donnie, but I was scrambling. Like I was calling anybody, everybody. I was like, I need leads, right?
Yep.
So even for me, when I first started in the business, I think for every insurance agent, you definitely have to purchase leads, right? And then you can start gathering a referral from those leads, right? So if you want to try vendor to vendor, that's fine. I mean, just to start out with. But once you find out what works, don't change it up. Stick 100%. With that lead vendor if you're producing at a high level with that lead vendor.
Yeah, sure. That's a good point. Because I think we definitely saw that with on the Ultimate Agent, right? They gave us different types of leads from different sources.
True.
But I think we all noticed that the direct mail leads that we were running were just like fire leads, right? We were selling those like hotcakes.
Yeah.
But then we were jumping over to the age leads that they gave us. And Donnie, you want to share a little story about those age leads?
Yeah. So if you weren't here last week, I kind of gave you a quick snippet last week. But these age leads we were working, oh my goodness, I had a guy whose sister actually answered and informed me the guy that I was calling on had died in 2017. So a lead was so old that when it was generated, the guy had since passed away 6 years ago. These were the leads that we were working. And I think that's unfortunately a lot of people's experiences, especially when they kind of get into some of the sketchier lead vendors. A lot of lead vendors nowadays are reselling leads or selling you old leads under the false pretenses that they're new leads.
Yeah.
And that isn't necessarily a struggle that you're having. It's something that an obstacle is getting put in your place that you can't control. So it's very, very, very important that you have a lead vendor that you trust, and then one that you can go back from other people and say, how was your experience with this lead vendor?
Yeah.
If you're just ordering things off a website with no prior inclination on what they are, I can probably tell you they're going to be pretty bad.
Yeah, that's true. I think we've all experienced this to some degree or another, but finding some kind of lead vendor and getting plugged into their system, and they require you to put up some amount of money to get started, and then you make the investment, and then you just find out, man, these leads are trash.
Yeah. You drop all that money.
Yeah. I know Alex and I have done that just recently. It was probably 4 or 5 months ago, and I put down like almost $1,000, and it just kind of went to crap. So we're going to try and help you avoid that today. Just teach you some little tips and tricks about that. But Alex, do you want to touch a little bit about, how are you still buying leads now, or are you mainly working off of referrals at this point?
Yeah, man. Probably about my last lead purchase, I purchased some from Derek probably about a week and a half ago just to help him out. He was behind on his goal. So I was like, dude, yeah, I got, I'll give you some money, bro. I love giving back, like I said, but I never purchase leads anymore. I work all my business straight off of referrals, man. And I've been doing that. I've been doing that since a month after Ultimate Agent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And how have you seen that has helped your business grow?
Man, it's crazy. It really is crazy. If I think back to post Ultimate Agent like a month, I wouldn't even think my business is where it was supposed to be. Like I didn't know I could gather so many referrals from one client. I always say that you can gather in between 3 to 8 referrals from every single client you sit down with. And it's really true, because when I'm going through my presentation, right, and I'm gonna kind of share my story, Adam, just like what I shared with you in the past and on other podcasts.
Hold on, before you get too deep into that, real quick, you said
right.
Each client you can get somewhere between 3 to 8 referrals.
Yeah, that's
mind
blowing to me.
I know most people struggle to just get one.
Yep.
And why do we think that is, that people aren't getting referrals?
Here's the deal, and you guys could agree with me on this. Every insurance agent, really, when they get a sale, what are they ready to do right off the sale? Exactly. They're ready to just hang up the phone, right? They're ready to just get off the phone. They get so happy. I made a sale. Like, let's go, guys. Let's put it in the group me. Let's put it in the Discord that I just got $100 life app, right? Tell the client, hey, Mrs. Jones, I so much appreciate you. You know, if you need anything, please call me. I'll be your agent for life. Okay. And that's it. They don't ask for them, just like what Joe said, right? There was a stat that I looked up yesterday, because I'm going to be sharing it today at Power Players. It says 91% of customers say that they would give referrals, but only 11% of people ask for them.
Jeez.
Wow.
Crazy. That's crazy. So 91% of customers and clients would say that they would actually give a referral, just one or more, but only 8% of people are asking for them.
Wow.
That's wild.
Like,
and
that's crazy,
I think,
right?
Alongside the asking piece, I also think asking at the right time is also key.
Very true.
And if you just wait until the very end and be like, oh, by the way, who do you know? Or who can I talk to? People just kind of brush you off to end the phone call, right? So you gotta put it in the right place during your conversation.
Dude, that's money. I mean, only 11% people. I mean, it's actually crazy. Like, and we talk about touching points, right? I always make touching points in the presentation. So in the middle of the presentation, what I'll say is, hey, as we're talking right now, if you could please think of some of the names and numbers of people that you may know, and then we can jump back to that at the end. And I'll do 2 to 3 touch points on that inside my presentation before I get to the end.
Wow.
So now they're thinking about it, right?
And let's say if you're doing a presentation and you do forget to do those touch points, don't think that the end of the presentation isn't a place to ask and let that be an excuse not to ask.
No,
if you don't remember it until, right when you're walking out the door, then hey, ask them there. Better to say no than get nothing.
So true.
If you're doing in person, it's all that much easier to get a referral than it is over the phone. So even if you're like 1 foot out the door, you can still turn around and shake their hand and grab them and hey, who do you know? Yeah, like stop moving your head.
But Adam, to get back on that, it is fairly easier, I feel like, to be in home. But I mean, for me as myself, and as I've done remote and all in home, I have gathered the same amount of referrals from remote. Right? It's about just asking the questions, right? And like I said, I'm going to kind of jump into it here. Is when I'm gathering referrals, right? I make those touch points in the middle of the presentation. At least 2 to 3 times, man. You gotta make it touch so they know it's in the back of their head. So now once it's jumped to the end of the presentation, he mentioned it before, so now I have to help him out here since he helped me out. It's really like it's a give type of situation, right? If you're going to give, someone else is going to give back to you. That's reciprocation, right? So at the end of the presentation, what I'll do now, hey, Mr. Jones, I really do appreciate you letting me help you out today. I really would, I build my business off of referrals. So if I really would love the names and numbers of some people that you might know. And I'll sit there, let them talk. I'll just be quiet, right? Oh, I don't know anybody. No big deal, ma'am. So, most of my clients actually have, about 80% of my clients, ma'am, actually have like a little contact book, right? Like maybe in the kitchen, in your room, just with just maybe some people from church, maybe some neighbors, family, whatever it is. Do you have the contact book? And I've gotten give back on that before. I've been asked, do I give back? I've gotten some give back, right? But it's just a matter of asking. You can't be scared to ask for a referral, right? If you're so pissed about buying leads every single week, why aren't you asking for referrals? It's clear as day. People are sitting there crying and, I don't want to buy leads. Then get referrals, bro. Start asking for referrals.
Tell them.
Right? And let's say they say they don't have a contact book. So now I've made 4 to 5 touch points, right? Those 2 questions she flags off. I always get some off the first question. Even when they give me referrals on the first question, do you think I'm asking the second question? Yes. I'm asking the second question all day long. Right? Third, even when she gives me referrals on the second question, I'm asking the third question. My third question now is, when I'm wrapping this up, is what's your neighbors? Who's this right next door? Right?
Joe Bob.
She tells me the name. Yeah, dude, all day long. And like, who's this next door? I don't even need their number. I just need their name, man. I mean, you can just tell me their name. Who's this? Right here. Who's that? Who's that? And who's that? I really do ask that. What's their name? Because most neighbors know each other, right? I got some clients that don't even get out, don't know any of their neighbors, whatever, right? But you have to ask all those questions in order to get referrals. So now you guys kind of in the audience sees that is how you get 3 to 8 referrals every single client. I'm higher on when I get in a home, I'm getting anywhere between 5 to 8 referrals every single time. Right. Not to mention, I didn't mention when you're selling life insurance, right? I already have 3 beneficiaries. Right? On the policy. I ask for 3 no matter what, because what are these 3 beneficiaries now? They're all 3 referrals. Right. I learned this from Pete Fournier and I said it on a podcast ago, but when you gather those referrals, right, on those 3 beneficiaries, you're going to call them and say, hey, ma'am, hey, Mrs. Jones, I just helped your mother out with, her life insurance policy. It was very need to her. She really, wanted and felt like it was a good protection for you guys. I just wanted to let you know that you are the beneficiary on this policy. And if something does ever, God forbid, happen to her, you would be the one to receive the proceeds. And makes them feel good that they're the beneficiary on their mother's policy, right?
Yeah.
Then I would go into, your mother did leave me your name and number, just wanted to check on you about if you had any life insurance or term insurance in place. I mean, she told me that you may not have anything, or if you do, that that I did want to let you know that there could be some cash benefits in your policy and things that I may be able to help you out with. I'm doing that for all three of those people. And I can promise you I'm closing at least one of them. At least one of them.
And how much did it cost to get that lead? Fat zero.
It makes them feel good, though, Adam and Donnie. It really does. I helped their family member out with life insurance, right? It makes them feel that there's some protection there, right? So then that already builds a level of trust with me in that referral and that beneficiary, right? They already trust me at a level since I helped their family member out, right? That's the power of asking for a referral, man.
That's really
I heard a saying when I first entered the industry is, if you write a family 1 policy, you're a salesman. If you write them 2, you're an advisor.
That's good.
So I think referrals and especially family groups and family friend groups are more inclined to give you referrals if you are writing more than just 1 line. If you do take care of their Medicare and their hospital indemnity and their life insurance, and guess what? You're giving them some, retirement advice as well. So Joe asked a really good question. Would you do this differently if you were telesales versus in the field? And then ask us. There's always going to be, difference in telesales versus in the field, because you can rely on your personality and read body language a lot more in the field than you can over telesales. Telesales is, in my opinion, a lot more to do with the touch points, building trust along that conversation.
Correct.
Than necessarily relying on your personality and your likability. Believe me, very few people can turn these blue eyes down. But guess what? I can't use these blue eyes during the phone call. You know what I'm saying?
Joe, to answer.
Go ahead.
Dude, yeah, Joe, to answer your question and me and Adam have talked about, me, Colin, Donnie, we've all talked about referral gathering and what it looks like. I mean, for me, if I were to be doing remote, I wouldn't change my pitch at all with getting referrals. I honestly wouldn't. I would obviously build trust differently since I'm over the phone with the client, but I wouldn't ask it any differently. I honestly wouldn't, because you can still ask if you ask, thank you for letting me help you out today. What's some of the names and numbers of people you may know? They say no to that. Then you ask for the freaking contact book. I don't care if you're over the phone or at home. You're asking for the contact book, right?
Yep.
The worst they say is no, really. The third one is, even when you're remote, even when you're across the country and you're in Oklahoma and your client's in Michigan, you're asking for the neighbors' names and numbers now, because most neighbors know their neighbors.
Right.
Yep.
Something that I love, and I can't quote it exactly, but basically it's like, if you're too afraid to ask somebody for a referral or whatever it is, just think about, if you don't ask them, you're going to be in the same situation you're in now, versus if you do ask, and what if they say yes? What if they do give you referrals?
Yep.
Right? But you'll never know if you don't ask. Right? And so it's just like, you got to just put yourself out there.
And but dude, Adam, that's so good. People think like referrals are so crappy too. That's why people don't ask for them. People think referrals are crap, and they're not. Right? Like, I used to work my business so much more differently when I used to gather referrals, like my first 6 months. And I was like, dude, I gather referrals and I don't even call them. I was like, dude, and I'll call some of them and I'll get so much give back, because I was pretty crappy on the phones, right? Yeah. But it was like, referrals are crap. And that's how most insurance agents think. And if you keep thinking that way, that's how it's going to be. And you're going to keep continuing to buy leads.
Yeah.
And talk about your profit margins on a referral compared to buying.
Oh my gosh.
I'll be the first one to tell you, I've bought leads up to $50 a piece before. I've seen leads go even higher than that.
I paid $75 for
dude.
Before.
Yep.
It's crazy. That's a level of like generating your own leads, though, is from referrals, right? I know Adam, we'll get into Adam generating his own leads, because I'm very curious, because Adam, me and you have talked about it. I feel like at a level for myself, I can gather a crap ton of referrals, but I would like to generate my own referrals for my team and dish them off to my team. I really would do that, because like $3 to $5 a lead. I mean, that's nothing, right? So you just got to ask. You literally just have to ask. But Adam, I'm curious, man, with what, oh, my bad, Adam. Donnie, I didn't even answer your question. The return is insane. Just came into my mind. Sorry. The return is crazy. I mean, like I said, if I have those 3 beneficiaries, I'm closing one, and we can just say it's for example, a $50 app. I mean, that's $450, $480 around there, right? That's not even counting the actual referrals that I've gotten yet. That's just 3, right? Now I'm making those 3 questions. Like I mentioned, if you guys haven't seen this, go back. What was it, like 10 minutes ago when I was explaining my referral strategy? You have to ask those 3 touch points. And when I started doing it, bro, my return was insane. I mean, if I got 8 referrals, dude, I'm at least closing 2 to 3.
And how much did you spend on those referrals?
It's 0. Just ask. But Adam, dude, I'm curious with your lead gen. Me and Donnie kind of talked about ours. I'm curious.
Yeah. So pretty much where I was at, this was maybe 5 or 6 months after I got into the life insurance space. I was just kind of fed up with lead vendors, and I didn't want to buy leads from an unknown source. I really wanted to be in control, right? Because how many times do you call a lead and you're like, hey, you filled out this form, and they're like, I never filled out anything, right? Or they don't remember filling something out. And it's just frustrating, because you're like, well, I don't know how I got your information. Somebody just sent it to me in an Excel document, right? And so for me, I wanted to be in complete control. I wanted to know where the client went from start to finish, from clicking the ad to talking to me on the phone. I wanted to know every single step in between, right? So I figured the best way to do that was to figure out how to self-generate all of my own leads. And I think the easiest way to get started on that for most people would probably be to do Facebook ads. And that's what I've been doing since November of last year, almost a year now. And it's been extremely successful. I will say probably over the course of that time, I've put in, let's say like $12,000 to $13,000 in ad spend. Okay. Which isn't crazy. I mean, most people will do that in like 3 or 4 months, right? Yep. But $12,000 are the ad spend, and I've submitted somewhere close to about $80,000 or $90,000 off of that.
Ooh.
But this wild, right? And you think about, if I would have just been paying a lead vendor, I would have maybe written the same amount of money, but I would have spent 3 or 4 times as much.
Absolutely.
And so
it's like,
really, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, what is it, like 3 to 5 to generate? And then, I mean, most companies or lead vendors are selling like 15, 20 for like just a normal Facebook lead, right?
True. Yeah.
Some put up more, but
let me share my screen with you really quick. I'm going to show you guys. I'll show you my campaigns here. So this is basically what your ad library will look like when you start creating your own leads. So you create a campaign.
And just so everyone is aware, Adam, this is through, of course, Facebook, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So you can just search Facebook Ads Manager if you don't know how to navigate on Facebook, and you should be able to populate something like this. You'll have to create an account that's linked to your Facebook, but it's pretty basic. You can find out how to do that on YouTube. So you'll go in here, you'll add a payment method. And basically how it works is as your leads come in, they start to accumulate a budget. And once your maximum budget is hit, then they will draft out that money from your account. So I have it set to like $900. So every time my ad account hits $900, they pull $900 out of my bank account. So it's just a rote thing. So
good.
When we look over here, I've run and tested a bunch of different types of ads, whether that be static, just like image, or I'll do videos, testing for final expense, mortgage protection, health insurance, general life. I've done it all. And so you can see over here, these are the types of leads I've run, the different results that I've gotten. So this is all time since the beginning of this year. And then you can see the cost per result. So my definitely the best ad that I've had so far, and the one that I still run right now, I've been running it since April, is just this general life insurance lead. I won't give away what the content is of the ad because I don't want to oversaturate it. But basically, I've gotten it down to about $3.50 per ad, right? Or per lead on the ad. So anytime somebody clicks on it, they'll go through. Here, I can show you this. Hold on.
And while you're doing that, Adam, Jarrell asked a really good question. Can you give us some pros and cons to generating your own Facebook leads? And I think I can throw a pro out pretty quickly from my view. Your average ad spend for a lead is a lot less than mine. I'll tell you that.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. It's just the cost per lead, right? So when somebody clicks on my ad, it's going to populate this, right? So I target people with diabetes. It's a much harder market to sell because you get a lot of people who are unhealthy and don't qualify. But the sheer volume of people that I get to talk to and practice on helps me to close more. But it essentially goes in, says, who do you want as your beneficiary? I ask them what their favorite color is. You don't have to do that, but that's just one of the questions I like to ask so I can refer back to it. Like, I don't remember filling this out. Well, you put your favorite color was blue. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I literally just had a conversation with somebody like that yesterday, and I closed him because he remembered that his favorite color was blue. Then they go in and they just put in some basic contact info, phone number, date of birth, the state they're in. Then they agree to being contacted. And then from here, it says sign up for an appointment that best fits your schedule, right? So they can click on this link and that will take them to my website, which will then allow them to book an appointment. So it's really helpful because, number one, I don't have to call every single lead because they're already self-booking, right? And so my calendar just gets filled up with all of these, people that are booking leads by themselves. I don't even have to do anything. But then also the ones that I do call, they're pretty receptive to it because I know the whole process that they've gone through to get to that point. So I can reference the video that I have posted. I can reference the questions they answered, where they filled out the form. and what was in the video that triggered them to click on the ad, right?
Yep.
So lots of different avenues you can go there. I will say it's not something that you're going to learn in just 5 minutes. It takes a lot of split testing and trial and error. You're probably going to lose some money doing it because you got to test some things and figure out what works and what doesn't work. I mean, you can see right here, this mortgage protection ad that I tried to run. Every lead was costing $125. Right. And I thought that ad was fire. I mean, I made this really cool video and it tanked. So I only got 2 leads from it. So, you know, it's just trial and error, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. But that's been the best for me. And I'm going to keep going with it. But if anybody wants to learn more about that, you can definitely reach out to me and I'll be happy to kind of show you the ropes and figure that out. But
dude, Adam, that's so good, bro. I just think if every insurance agent, let's say they generated their own leads, right? What you're doing, $3 to $5 a lead, depending what campaign you do, and you ask for referrals, sell or no sale, on those leads. Think about that.
Look at the amount of leads that I generated just from this one ad.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy, right? Like if you called all 1,400 people. All 1,400 people and ask for referrals, come on, you're going to gather quite a few.
100%.
Right. Now you're to the point where you have so many referrals from calling those 1,400. If, you know, you really don't want to purchase leads or generate your own leads, I mean, now you have those referrals to piggyback on. Those are your new leads now, really.
Yeah.
We all have our own. Everyone has their own way to work their business. You know, mine's referrals. Donnie, yours is referrals and leads. Adam's sounds like it's really lead heavy, which is amazing, right? Dude, everyone has what they do works, you know.
For sure. And Adam, I know we kind of, you know, spoke to a few of the struggles, but can you kind of tell the differences between, you know, working leads compared that you get from a vendor compared to working leads that you generate yourself, whether it be, you know, in the intent of the lead, the closing rate of the lead, etc.
Yeah. So real quick, let me answer this question. They said, is there a place you can go for ad templates? I don't really use any templates, Dylan. I pretty much just come up with everything on my own. There is something that you can use, and I'll share this too, because this is a really helpful tip. But pretty much any social media platform that runs ads, you can find some sort of ad library that will show you what other people are running. So let me share this real quick. Ad library. Okay. So if you just Google social media platform, you know, Facebook ad library, it will pull this up. And you can literally go in and search a key term. So for example, life insurance. I can go in and see all of the life insurance ads that are running that people have active right now on Facebook. So it'll show active, date that it started. You can even look at what people have written here in the text. You can click on the ad and it'll actually take you to that website that they have posted. So lots of really useful stuff that you can see. But what I'll say is, like, you can get inspiration from this. I wouldn't copy it verbatim, but, and somebody just asked about Canva art. I myself don't use Canva. I use Adobe like Illustrator, but Canva is a great resource if you don't know how to use the more advanced stuff. But this is a great place to get inspiration from. I would say look for an ad that has been running for more than a month, because that probably means that it's profitable, right? So look for things that didn't just start, you know, a week ago, because they're probably still testing it, seeing if it's a good fit. Yeah, I am too picky to use Canva. You're right. I just like my stuff to be.
That's so true.
So that's a great resource that you can use to get inspiration for the different types of ads that you're looking for. Donnie, what was the question that you asked? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just kind of asked some of the struggles and some of the issues that you've run into while running Facebook ads.
So I would say some of the struggles that I've had is, number one, finding an ad that works, that actually gets people to click on it. Because you see all these generic ads, right? Like we just saw, there's a ton of ads on the platform that are just like a static image, says life insurance, here's the costs, right? And I'm like, well, I don't want to be that. I want to stand out. So I'll create something. Like I had this idea that I would film a lady who was in her 70s, and we would create this ad for Final Expense. And she actually is a client of mine. She's a friend's grandma. And so I filmed this video of her, and she's basically scripted out, and she says things like, this is the kind of life insurance policy that I got. It's going to cover all these burial expenses, yada, 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 right? And people can relate to that, right? That was the thought that I had. People would relate better to that at that age than they would to me, a 26-year-old male who's not anywhere close to needing a final expense policy. So I posted online. I'm like, this ad is going to do great. And then it was like $25 per lead. And I was like, what the heck? I really thought it would pop off. So it's really just a lot of trial and error with this. Because sometimes you have an ad that just blows up that you were not expecting to do well. And then other times you think something's going to do well and it's going to tank. So I would say just do a bunch of cross tests, figure out different verbiage that you can use on different ads. And, you know, that's really it. Because that's the biggest struggle, is finding something that actually gets people to click on it and engage.
I think that's good, Adam. Like for myself, right? We've been talking. I need to start generating my own leads to give leads out to my team and stuff. I think for any agents that are looking to generate your own leads, like you're starting or you don't know what you're doing right now, you need some type of resource to call, to get in front of, to sell. Adam is the prime guy for you. I mean, Adam, we were talking about, or you even doing like a webinar, you know, to teach people how to generate their own Facebook leads, because I mean, it can be really efficient in the long run if you're willing to try it out, right? And even you can help us choose the better ones because you've already done the bad ones,
sure,
right? The bad ones that didn't work out, right? So that's so important. I mean, for any person that's looking to, and any person that's looking to generate, I mean, definitely talk to Adam and let's get this started for real.
And to speak on Joe's comment right there, I definitely wanted to say that myself. Do not sleep on Facebook groups. I personally use Facebook groups. There's so many word of mouth groups out there. Look up your city, word of mouth. Look up your city, yard sale, first sale, something like that. Business word of mouth, along those lines. And then go through your entire state. My Facebook page, I think I'm a part of 100+ different just first sale groups or business word of mouth groups. And the majority of them have rules. But as long as you follow the rules, I've gotten plenty of leads from Facebook groups. Investment groups are great as well. There you go. I'll definitely have to check those out, Joe. Thank you.
Dude, the syndicate is a prime example.
Yep.
Like, dude,
absolutely.
Dude, like the camaraderie and like everything that Joe and Tony's got going, bro. It's like, it gets me excited, bro. Like it gets me excited. Like I go on and watch the podcast every day, every morning, bro. And it gets me going for my day. Like this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm curious to know too, you know, we've talked about self-gen leads and how I do it, but if you want to drop in the comments, would you prefer that somebody build it for you and just like maintains it for you? Or would you rather be taught how to do it and maintain it yourself? Because like in my eyes, it's like you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, right?
Yep.
And I feel like that's the same way with self-generating leads, right? Because I can just turn a switch and do it myself every time, right? And then I'm not reliant on somebody else having to do it for me. And I'm also in the loop on everything that's going on, right?
So we have a few rather be taughts. Joe, build it for me and I'll learn along the way. I love it, Joe.
That's funny.
So yeah, that's kind of my secret sauce is I do all my self-gen stuff through Facebook. I'm also probably going to start learning how to do YouTube ads. So just, you know, that 15-second clip at the start of a YouTube video, or even doing TikTok ads. I know TikTok can be a little bit more expensive, but that's kind of where I want to move towards. Because I don't want to just stick strictly to Facebook, right? Like we were saying earlier, you don't want to put all your apples into one basket. You want to diversify. So I'm definitely going to work on my referral game like Alex, but also start putting my ads out in different places. So if one method drops, then I still have the other ones to work with. Because it actually did happen back in like 2019 or 2020. Facebook changed some privacy rule with the new iOS that came out. And so many people were affected by that with the ad platform.
Yeah.
And it just like overnight, people just like went out of business because they couldn't run their Facebook ads anymore. Google My Business. Yeah, I have a business page on Google that I send people to do referrals. What aren't I doing? There's still plenty of things I can't do, but yeah, I do a Google My Business page that I send clients to get referrals. So that helps with my SEO, like local. It's funny. I don't actually do PNC, but I get a ton of calls from people locally looking for PNC insurance just because of my business page on Google. So
yeah, and I know this was pretty big a couple years back, probably 5 to 10 years ago. But making single page landing pages along the lines of your city or wherever you're kind of focusing your leads at, like that's for me, I live in Ocala, Florida. So I would do Ocala insurance, or I would do Ocala, Ocala life insurance agent, Ocala life insurance quote, something along those lines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, I had a question for both of you guys, and for I'll answer it as well. But we've talked about generating our own leads, referrals, buying leads, finding, whatever it is. And there's a lot of agents in our audience, right, that are having trouble even calling their own leads, like laziness, maybe a motivation to call their leads. Like, how do you guys manage to call your leads? Even when you have like Adam, for you, for example, right, and Donnie as well, like you guys have a crap ton of leads coming in. But people most insurance agents are really lazy and they don't call them. Like they'll call maybe one time through and then not redial them.
Yeah, that's true. So one thing that's worked really well for me personally is just being organized with it. So whether you're using a CRM or you have them on a Google spreadsheet, just make it so that you know who you've called and how many times you've called them. So like if I have an Excel sheet, I color code everything. So if I set an appointment, I mark it green. If I've called them and they didn't answer, I mark it yellow. If they're not interested or it's a do not call, I mark it red. So then I know when I finish that list, I can go back to the bottom of the list and go through all the yellows that I've called 3 times and call them another 3 times and call them another 3 times, right? Because I think that's the biggest struggle of a lot of people is they just call them one time. Oh, they didn't answer. And then you just waste a lead, right? How many times have you gotten a sale after calling them 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, right? I know for me, countless. The CRM that I use is just, Go High Level. I have a branded version of that. So Go High Level is great. I can get you plugged into that if you want. I don't know what you guys use.
So for me, of course, just like any other, agent, I started with an Excel sheet. And then I do have experience both with Opt and Agent Sync, and I do like both of them. Opt is a little bit more technical and requires a little bit higher of a learning curve. I like Agent Sync for new agents because it's a little bit more intuitive and the UI looks a lot better and is a lot more easier to understand.
What do you use?
I'm right now I'm using Agency Block. So I'll just, anytime I sell something to a client, I'll just put up, obviously all their information in there, what I sold them, and then jump back onto them a year later. Because for me, what's always worked for me, since I'm doing Medicare, life, the whole 9 yards, is I always follow up with all my clients after 1 year. Because I had literally 3 clients that I sat down before I came to Cabo. Those were a yearly checkup, and I rewrote 2 life policies to save them money, and then I rewrote 2 Medicare supplements because I could save them money there as well. So that's something that's why I like a CRM so much too. Is like it gives me a little bit more order because I'm already so disorganized with my business, bro. I have a bunch of hectic stuff going on, but it's easier to go back to say, okay, I sat down with them a year ago, so that's what I use those Agency Block.
And if you're someone who is finding yourself being lazy, like I said, like myself, I'll be the first one to admit it, of not hitting your contacts, of not hitting your dials per day, then you need to automate. Do not let leads sit there untouched. If you're not going to do it, let a robot do it. Don't let a lead just go to waste.
That's great, because that's what I was going to touch on next. Somebody asked about funnels, right? So the idea behind a funnel is you've got your bucket that looks like this, and you're putting in as much data as you can on the top end to where it filters out to just a little bit of information coming out. But that's the people that you're targeting, right? So you let the automation take care of all of this, and then you're touching on the people that are more high intent. So that's really what I have set up with my Facebook ads. They go into the funnel, they fill out their information, and then the people that are actually interested will click the link and book a call with me. And it just goes directly to my calendar. I send them a text message the morning of like, hey, just confirming our appointment. And then I give them a call. And then if I have downtime, that's when I'll call the people who didn't book the appointment, right? They come secondary to the people that actually do, because I want to focus more on the high intent people, right? So that's the idea of a funnel, is you're taking people to a landing page that gets them to fill out whatever information or link on your calendar so that you don't have to do all that work manually.
Yeah. Dude,
I want to answer Dylan's question real quick. When you say you dial a lead 3 times, what kind of time frame is that in? He says he calls twice. I call 3 times right back to back to back. I don't care, man.
Triple dial.
And guess what? Yeah. I'm going to do that in the morning. I'm going to do that in the afternoon. And I'm going to do that at night.
Yep.
They're going to get sick of me if they don't answer. Because what is a lead that doesn't answer? It's wasted money. So at worst, I want to hear please don't ever call me again or I'm calling the cops, rather than just a lead sitting there being unused. Believe me, or I'd rather get cursed out. Dude, what is getting cursed out? It's a dude over a phone. Who cares?
Donnie, I think that to answer the question I asked you guys, I totally agree with you. I think it's it's definitely a self-discipline thing. Like if you're not calling your leads, you have to say, okay, I'm not going to go do this tonight. I'm not going to go hang out with the friends tonight since I didn't hit my contact goal, right? I think it's that, like I've said, like we've all said, when you have the activity goals, right, the production's going to come with it. If you're not hitting your activity goals, you really should not be doing anything else because you're just being lazy. I mean, really. And
right? Setting production goals, if your activity goals aren't in line, is always going to lead to disappointment. Always.
Yeah.
It starts with the activity, man.
Yeah. And I think everybody struggles with that to some extent, right? I mean, I have days, even weeks, where I get in my own head and I get kind of demotivated and I don't want to do the work. But it really just comes back to, you just got to center yourself and get back to your why of why you're doing it, and realize it doesn't matter, right? These people that you're going to talk to in 10 minutes, they're not going to remember you anyway, right? Yeah. And you're never going to see them if you're doing it telesales. So if I'm sitting there and I call somebody and they don't answer, I'm like, do I really want to call them a second and a third time? I do, because I want to get them on the phone, right? Sure do. So I triple dial every single lead back to back. And then I'll go through my list of 10 or 15 people. And then I go back to the bottom of the list and I triple dial them again, right? Within a 30-minute.
That's so good.
Window. And I definitely have had people. Just yesterday, I had a guy answer the phone. He was like, did you just call me 3 times? I was like, actually, I called you twice, sir. But yeah, I was about to call you a 3rd time. Yeah. And he's like, I really hate that you guys do it. Everybody's doing this now and blah, 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 blah. Stop doing this. And he hangs up the phone. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. And I just kept dialing through my list. Right?
Yeah. And it's like, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's so many times where I don't get people to answer on the first call, but like my answer rate skyrockets on the 2nd or 3rd call, right? Just because most people don't answer an unknown number the first time they see it. Right.
The 4 times I don't call a lead is if I get a no, of course, after going through, my objections and overcoming them. If they tell me to F off, if they threaten to call the cops, or if I get blocked. Other than that, I'm giving them a call. I'm sorry to say, I'm calling them. They're getting called. Or they're getting an automation. They're getting a text message. There's some people that just aren't going to answer your call. Sending them a text saying, hey, I'm a real person. Send them a little meme. Hey, you there? I have a list. If anyone wants to hit me up, I have a list of really good minion memes, insurance memes. Send those out. I can't tell you how many people I've got to call me back off of a meme because they realize I'm not a robot.
To be on the Ultimate Agent was making memes. So
exactly, meme it up.
And sometimes it's like, off the third dial, they pick up the phone pissed, just kind of like what you said, Adam. They pick up the phone pissed, like, oh, why are you calling? Why are you calling? And then you kind of address why you're calling them. And if they really did fill it out and like they're one of those people that know they don't have any life insurance, but they need it, they're a little bit more calmed down now since you mentioned that, right? And that changes the whole aspect of how the call is going to go with the client, because now they're not as pissed anymore because you're calling on them what they need and what they want, that 100%. What they know that they need.
Just put it back on them, right? I mean, you filled this out, you requested this information. I'm just reaching out to give it to you, you know?
Yep. To answer Jarrell's question, Joe actually did with one good thing is ringless voicemail drops. So it'll skip all of the ringing and just put a voicemail in their mailbox. And for Jarrell's question, I will at a certain point. I'm not going to leave an immediate voicemail off of the first couple of times I call. If it goes into a non-contact, when I put it in my CRM of I've tried multiple forms of contact and it's not working, then I'll go ahead and leave a voicemail, and it's usually something that I have already typed out or it's a script that I have.
Donnie, I totally agree. Like for Jarrell, to answer your question as well, like when I'm gathering referrals, like if I collect 5 referrals from a client, I'm leaving a voicemail for every single one of them. Every single one of them. I think that's a complete no-brainer. Even like I said, if I gather 8 referrals, 10 referrals, I'm leaving a voicemail on every single one because they know the client that I just sold, right? So now there's already the trust built there, like what I said earlier. So I'm leaving a voicemail for all of them.
For me personally, what I do is I don't leave a voicemail on the first triple dial.
Yep.
I'll wait and do it on the second set of triple dials. Just because a lot of people, I do get callbacks a lot on just triple dialing somebody just because they're curious, like, hey, you called me 3 times, like, who is this? But then when I actually do leave the voicemail, I make it super vague. I don't be like, hey, this is Adam, I'm calling you about the life insurance that you've requested, because nobody's going to return that call, right? So I'll say just something super basic like, hey, Alex, this is Adam, give me a call back when you have a second, thanks. Right? Make it seem super friendly, like you know the person, and that's going to drastically increase the chances of them actually calling you back.
Do you email? Not often, but I will, absolutely. Again, I always want to personally dial someone myself. If I'm getting a lead, then I want my hand typing in the number and pressing that dial and getting him on the phone. If I get to a point where, again, they're a no contact, I'm going to exhaust all forms of contact that I can get to them. I'll send them a text. I'll leave a voicemail. If they have, an email with their lead, I'll send them an email. I'm going to try to find these people on Facebook. It's all about whatever you can do to exhaust a lead and get a lead from a no contact to a resolution. Do it.
Email is definitely tricky too, because you run into your email getting put in like the promotions tab on Gmail or going to spam. So like you have to really learn how to send an effective email and not make it seem salesy. If you want more tips on that, I just recently finished reading this book, Sell Like Crazy. You can find it online. It's free. You just pay for shipping. So it's a really great book about marketing. And the last 2 chapters, he talks about email marketing and how you can make sure that you actually get into people's inboxes and get people to click on your emails. I wouldn't say it should be like your main mode of communication with a new lead, because a lot of people honestly just don't check emails. I sent out a mass email to my list, and there was 3,000 people on there. And I think only 34% of people actually opened the email or even saw it. So it's not a great method of communication, but
anything to exhaust the lead. Anything to exhaust the lead. Do it.
And I'm not sure who these Facebook users are. You guys, please let StreamYard view your comments. But to answer do you email? I only email in situations if I had a great conversation with the client and he's actually interested in the quotes that we talked about. And you guys, all insurance agents know who's actually interested and who's kind of blowing you off, right?
Yeah.
So those are the times that I would actually send an email, when they're actually interested in what I have to offer.
Yeah.
Because emails take forever, bro. If you're sending emails to freaking 5-10 clients a day, that's time, man. Time is money, right? So if they're actually interested, then I'll email you.
Yeah, I do find myself using email more to communicate with an already client than I do a potential client for sure.
And we are going to wrap up here in a couple minutes. So if anybody else has any other questions that they want to answer, go ahead and put them down in the chat so we can touch on those before we wrap up.
Yeah.
To kind of give a synopsis, let's see, do you use Vonage Text or similar? I don't know what Vonage Text is.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's in like an AI text application. If it is, I do use something similar through Symmetry Financial. They call it Razor Rich. And I do use an automated like AI text message format for sure.
Something you got to look
Adam,
out
you use
for.
That correct?
I use Go High Level.
Yep.
And Go High Level is kind of a bundle of everything. So they have texting, phone call, email, website building, funnel building.
Yep.
But something you got to be careful with now is just recently there was a bill passed to help prevent like telemarketing scams, to where you have to like register your phone numbers for campaigns and stuff. Yeah. So a lot of these services now are no longer available, or you can't use them because the text messaging has been blocked. So make sure you find a service that isn't blocked that you can actually use, because that's a new thing just in the last like 30 days. So but that's what I use. I use Go High Level, and it does all my texting automations for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't personally. I don't do any AI texting. Like I said, I mean, it's the same thing with email. If a client's interested with what I got to offer, then I'll text them for sure.
Alex is an old soul.
Yeah, I try to stick to the basics, man. I am so, like I said, I'm very disorganized. So that's one thing that I need to work on.
Yeah. But I mean, you're selling a crap ton of insurance. So obviously it works to
protecting people, man. Protecting people.
Yeah. Absolutely. And one thing I will say is a lot of people will get too caught up in the complexity of everything, right? Like, I got to get my AI stuff working. I got to get my text automations working. I got to build out my funnel. But like, really, you just need to start selling insurance, right? Call your leads, get people on the phone, and then you can build out all your stuff in your free time. But until you're actually like making money, none of that stuff should really matter to you.
Details delay.
100%.
Delay.
Yeah.
So let's stick to the basics, and then we can move forward.
But keep it simple, stupid.
I don't know what that means.
Keep it simple,
stupid.
Yeah. It's stupid. I mean, details really do delay. I mean, most insurance agents are I mean, there's quite a few that are so analytical that have to make sure crap's done the right way all the time. I have to have all these things lined out before I start selling. Just do the basics, man, and then you can dive into stuff.
I mean, that's how I get.
I think it's crap.
Like, I'm super like OCD, and so I want everything to be perfect before I, pull the trigger. But sometimes I just have to step back and catch myself, and that just do the work.
To drive leads, which way, Dylan? Non-technology ways to drive leads.
You mean
I think he's talking about more face-to-face, I feel like.
Oh, billboards, yard signs, mailers. Yard signs are spectacular. If you don't have a yard sign in your front yard, you're really doing yourself a disservice.
I'm actually probably going to do, for open enrollment health insurance, I'm probably going to get a bunch of yard signs made and put them all around my town.
Listen, I had a crazy idea the other week. I had a sign that I said, instead of I couldn't afford a billboard, so I was going to stand on the street with a sign that says, "Call me if you need life insurance." Whatever it takes to get some leads, man. Some free leads, some cheap leads. I'll do.
Some TIA signs. We need some TIA signs, man. We're lacking. We're lacking.
I think mailers also are very effective. They can just be kind of expensive. So if you have the budget for them, mailers are great with mortgage protection, especially. Final expense is also fantastic for mailers. But did you want to say something, Alex?
I found out there's a couple agents here that are using like direct mail and it auto books the appointment.
Oh,
so this is crazy, bro. So I think I'm trying it out. I mean, I don't care. I love trying out new things. I mean, what I'm doing is working, but I like to try new things, see if it can help me even more, right? So yeah, I'm gonna try that out. Like you send the mail in, right? They send it back, right? And they're literally auto book, like the vendor's literally auto booking your appointment to go see them face to face.
That's pretty cool.
I'm like, bro, I'm trying that out, dude.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know why more of those mailer companies don't like put a QR code on their thing and like scan this QR code and then it book directly online. I think that would be a good idea too.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be trying that.
Well, guys, I think we've gone over our hour mark here. We've had some great participation in the comments today. I think that leads is definitely something that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
Something that is a must for most people in their business. So if you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to any of us and we can kind of help you in whatever way we can with that. But we appreciate you tuning in today. Look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any suggestions of things that you would like to hear us talk about, feel free to drop that in the comments as well, and we'll be sure to include it in a future episode. But till next week, thanks for tuning in to Friday Fuel. Let's get after it today.
Appreciate you guys.
Later, guys.